Hi, Nicola here, one of the other halves from Conscious Crypto Trader, and I'm joined today here with Cian Kenshin from the MindHack Institute to explore this idea of cryptocurrency and consciousness, as well as give you some tips on how to manage your emotions and mindset when you're trading or investing in cryptocurrency. Great to see you again, Cian. How you doing?
Oh, good, Nicola. Just enjoying my day down at the beach, actually. It's wonderful to kind of live this lifestyle and freedom.
Yeah, it is. Digital nomad lifestyle is definitely the best.
Mm.
You're in Mexico, I'm in Costa Rica, and it's awesome. So you have an MBA in finance. You left a cushy six-figure income job to become an entrepreneur. I want to know how. Oh, hang on a second. I'm going to start that again. So you have an MBA in finance. You left a cushy six-figure income job to become an entrepreneur and now an investor in cryptocurrency. And you're hanging out in the upscale hippie town that I've just discovered, Tulum, Mexico, where I met you. So you're also a deeply spiritual person. You have a
Hmm.
podcast where you explore consciousness. So I want to know, how did you get started in crypto and why? And how does it connect with consciousness for you?
So yeah, thanks for that question, Nicola. It's really like that's a beautiful question to get started. I mean, we'll probably just go on that one the whole time. Yeah, so I got started in crypto like way back. Um, I don't know if it was like 2013, somewhere around there. It was whatever. It was like 5 cents a Bitcoin back then. And I remember I bought a whole bunch at 5 cents, and then it went up to 50 cents. And I was like, beautiful. That's as high as it's ever going to go. It sold everything. And I forgot about it for a couple of years, um, with to my own detriment. But eventually, earlier this year, it kind of came back into my awareness in a really different way than it had before. Because a lot has changed over the past few years, right? Like crypto's really grown up, I'd say, in the past like year and a half, 2 years, right? Like
Yes.
we've got institutions coming in. You can now borrow against your crypto. There's crypto credit cards. There's insurance policies that underwrite the people who hold your crypto. There's third party holders. Like crypto's really gone from the days of Mount Gox, where the CEO was coding live in the site and presumably made off with everyone's crypto, to now we've got like real institutions. We got VCs getting into it. We've got like it's grown up, right? And so a lot of these things started coming into my awareness. And then when you combine that with the event that happened in 2020, which I won't name here because of YouTube constraints, everyone knows what we're talking about. I started my international finance mind got triggered, right? And I was like, oh boy, what's happening? Something's happening. And so like I also got at the same time a download from Spirit to just like, you got to look into crypto again, right? And I had been kind of like jaded from it because I got a little, when you sell at 50 cents, you kind of like, oh, I don't want to look at that anymore. Like, oh God,
Painful.
I could be like a billionaire right now, like, um, anyway, so I kind of got over that emotional block and just started looking into it. And so I brought the finance knowledge in, and what that was telling me is there's a big shift happening in the world right now, right? And that big shift is a result of the big event and the fact that crypto exists. If these two things hadn't happened at the same time, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But here we are. So what's happening with the big event? Well, people are having to shut businesses down. They're having to stay at home. Governments around the world, predominantly Western governments, they're having to pay people to stay at home, right?
Mm.
And when you do that, well, the money has to come from somewhere. So if you're shutting businesses down, you're not collecting taxes from that. If people are staying at home, you're not collecting taxes from that. So if the government's paying people to stay at home and they're not collecting as much taxes, there's going to be a bit of a shortfall, I think, right?
Yeah.
So that shortfall has to come from somewhere. And governments are already like up to here, like with borrowing, like they've borrowed as much as they can because, you know, they've been borrowing it when times are good, which is insane. Like according to like, you know, finance theory, governments should borrow when times are bad and pay that back when times are good. But they've just been borrowing and borrowing and borrowing to fund the lifestyle of, I don't know, what everyone's expecting.
Them,
you know?
Yeah.
So okay, where's the money going to come from? Well, they print it, right? Now, I don't want to get into this whole central bank and like fiat currency. Like that's a whole, like we could go down that rabbit hole, but I'll just assume everyone kind of knows the stuff around that. At the end of the day, money has no inherent value other than the value that we kind of assign to it collectively. And in a certain country, let's just say the country has a value of 100, right? And they have $100. So each dollar is worth one value. Well, let's say that's where we started. Now all of a sudden we print another $50, but we haven't increased our country's value by anything. Maybe it's even decreased. Just for simplicity of math, let's just say we printed $50. Well, now every dollar in that country is worth about 50% less value.
Yeah.
Right? So I started thinking about this. I'm like, okay, well, who's this going to affect? This isn't like billionaires are fine because they don't hold their value in dollars for the most part. They have art, they have crypto, they have businesses, they've got like hedge funds, all this stuff, right?
Bitcoin
billionaires
now.
are gonna yeah.
Yeah.
So they're gonna be fine, right? Okay, well, what about the government? Well, they can, you know, they can just print more money, so they're fine. And they can just increase taxes on people. So, okay, and poor people, well, they don't really have a lot of savings, so this isn't going to affect them. Inflation's going to drive the need to pay them more up, so they'll be fine. It's really the middle class that are going to get screwed by this, right? Anybody who's like making $50,000 to $150,000 a year, has savings in the bank, 20,000, 30,000, 50, 100,000, whatever it is, that savings is going to start to shrink.
Interesting. Wow. Yeah, there's so much corruption going on in those traditional financial sources, right? Which is why we are turning to cryptocurrency.
Well, that's it. And that's where crypto comes in, right? It's like, so what's a guy to do, you know? So I start getting these downloads and I push them through the ego filter of the finance training. And I'm like, oh yeah, like crypto's the solution to a lot of these problems, you know, like if you don't want your savings to disappear, if you don't want to like put your money into something that a government can just snap its fingers and decide, oh, you know, that's not worth anything anymore, or, you know, even the fact that the government is just printing money, like they have to, I get it, I understand it, right? But the fact that they can do that, like the US government is printing all like 30% of all US dollars in the last year, that's wild, man, you know? And countries around the world now are like, they hold their reserve currency in US dollars, right? Countries and central banks around the world and companies are holding USD as the reserve currency. And they're like, oh my God, you're literally stealing value from our country, from our company. Like what? Like, why do you think Tesla all of a sudden just pivoted a portion of their reserve currency into crypto, right?
Yeah, really, really interesting. For me, cryptocurrency especially Bitcoin, represents a shift in consciousness that has happened. And I saw it happen in 2012 when in my business, people started coming to me with different questions. It was like, hey, I've got all the skills and talents. I want to make a difference and I want to make money by making a difference. I don't want to just make money for the sake of money. So there was a real shift in consciousness about that. And then it was like, I would just give anything to feel a sense of purpose, and the money is secondary. So there's another little shift in the cogwheel to eventually not have to be in that system of thinking of reciprocity. Here, I'm going to exchange this for that. Then 2008-9, crypto comes. I got it for $5, sold it at 20, thought I was like really, really intelligent. I'm onto this.
I know. Oh my God.
But now, like with cryptocurrency, the consciousness is the store of value, and and now being able to use cryptocurrencies for exchange is highly revolutionary with a lot of these innovative companies. You look at crypto.com and anybody, any other company that uses the Visa or the MasterCard, where you purchase something, you put your crypto on there, you purchase with the crypto into the fiat currency, and then you get rewards back in the cryptocurrency. Now, if you were getting rewards back in terms of miles, you get miles, it's value for value, right? But you get it back in cryptocurrency goes up in value. Yeah, I've got one of those. Cryptocurrency goes up in value, which means that at some point, what you spent and the reward that you got back over time cancels each other out.
Totally.
Right. So there's another cog in the consciousness wheel to eventually, as a visionary, where I see we're going is to a world without reciprocity at all. We won't need to exchange. We will just be in a giving economy because everybody is so joyful. They just want to give of their talents. That's where I think we're going. And cryptocurrency is the bridge for that. So,
yeah.
So talk a little bit about what your experience is with consciousness and crypto and how they come together.
Yeah, it's like Gene Roddenberry's vision of Star Trek, right? Yes. Like,
yeah,
just no reciprocity.
I'm a Trekkie.
I think awesome. So that was a great example then. Okay, perfect. Yeah. We all want to get to that point, right, where we can just provide value, And my Buddhist roots, like I'm a Zen teacher, and I've been practicing Buddhism for a long time. Like, when I'm teaching Zen, there is no expectation of reciprocity. It's literally like I'm teaching for the joy of teaching, and because the generosity feeling inside of me is good, right? And then if students decide to give as a result of that out of their own generosity, that's also nice too. And I think we can get there. And I think part of, man, this goes back to like ancient times when, like Jesus threw the money changers out of the temple, and like interest is a bad thing in some traditions and stuff, right? Like if you think about from a macroscopic macroeconomic perspective, what all of these middlemen in the financial industry do is basically make it so that people have to work for less than is the value of their work, right?
Yeah.
And like, I mean, Karl Marx talked about this a lot, right? Is like, if you look at business, it's got its workers and it's got its shareholders, and the value that shareholders extract from the business is equal to the amount that they can underpay the workers. So, and that's just the first level. Then you've got all of the financial stuff layered on top of that, all of the middlemen, all of the people who charge bank transaction fees, interest, insurance, all of this other stuff layered on top. Just purely from a mechanical perspective, like, we're starting to put into place systems that break all of that down, right? And get rid of the middlemen and allow us as humans to transact directly.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So So from a mechanical three-dimensional realm perspective, that's kind of the first step, is tearing down the old paradigm of business, of finance. And we're seeing that crypto's going in that direction. And I love the way that you put that, right? That you kind of woke up to that. And I'm playing off of your vision here, like kind of going further out than I had thought about. Because I was thinking just on the mechanics side of it, but yeah, if you extend that a little bit, mechanics, and you look at, okay, well, people are waking up and people are starting to think about like value exchange, and then just providing value is like kind of the next step of that. I think you're right. I think crypto could allow us to get to a point. First, we're transacting as individuals directly, right? Once you can do that, it's only a matter of time before there's a movement of people who are like, okay, let's transact directly, but let's remove the need for a value, like an actual economic transaction, and let's start. Yeah, I don't know what that looks like, but I think you're right. Crypto's kind of the gateway towards that.
It is, but like I think it's the second precursor to it. The first precursor to it was open source community, where
Yes.
graphic designers, website designers, WordPress, all said, "Hey, here it is. Go for it. Just use it. I'm not asking for any money in return." I mean, Michael Saylor just had an event with billionaires and big corporations, right? And said, "Hey, just come to this event. I'm giving you all my templates for how we're incorporating cryptocurrency into our corporate structure, what we're doing."
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the videos were open source. So there was nobody paid anything. It was just like, I am just giving this. So that's the model. The open source community, I think, was that very, very first precursor that we are heading away from reciprocity. And it's so exciting. I want to talk strategy next. You have a great strategy week on week to model cryptocurrency. So talk about your strategy and why you feel that is a good strategy, perhaps for beginners getting into cryptocurrency.
Yeah, it's a good strategy for beginners because it kind of it gives you a very easy system that scales according to your income, and it takes the emotional roller coaster out of the thing. You literally, I'll explain in a minute, but basically one of my clients said that she grew up in a house that didn't have a lot of investing. They never talked about money. And she's a chiropractor, and so she makes good money, but has been scared of investing because it's just this big unknown area. Yeah. And just this simple system allowed her to have the confidence to go, oh, okay, it doesn't have to be scary. I don't have to worry about losing money if I do it this way. So what is this way? I didn't invent this. This is like, these are best practices in the investment industry. If you put your money in any, like big investment firms, like in Canada, like Investment Group or something like that, they'll often do this for you. Obviously, they won't do it with crypto though. So what is this? What is the strategy I'm talking about? It's very, very simple. First, you start with dollar cost averaging. Okay, dollar cost averaging is simply stating, okay, I want to invest, but I'm not going to take like 5,000 or 10,000 or 20,000, just dump it in the market and hope it goes up. That gets you on the emotional roller coaster, right? Because now you're invested and you're like, oh, you're watching the market, you're plugged into your cell phone, and you're like every morning you're getting up, it didn't go up, didn't go down, and that populates the day. It's like, oh, it's a good day. Oh no, I'm sad, right? Like so these sort of single point in time investments are probably the best way to end up on stress feed or something. So you decide, okay, well, every week or every month I can invest $50, $100, $200, whatever you choose based on what you think is doable for your income, right? It could be $5. And then you put that into the market every week or every month, regardless of whether it's up or down. And what that has the effect of doing is, if it's down, you're buying. If it's up, you're buying. If it's going up, you're buying all the way up. So you're getting in all the way up. And then if it starts going down, it doesn't bother you, because you're like, oh, well, I'm going to be buying it as it's going down too. So it doesn't actually matter, because I bought it on the way up and I'm buying it on the way down. And I know, as long as I believe that over time, over a long period of time, it's going to go up, that's fine. And based off of our earlier discussion, that's probably a good thing to believe. Although I can't tell anyone what to believe. That's what I believe. I believe crypto is going to go up significantly in the long run.
Yeah.
And so if you do believe that, then this dollar cost averaging is a way of getting you into the market over a period of time and not worrying about the volatility that's going to set you on that emotional coaster ride, right?
Yeah.
You know, like, go ahead.
I was just to say, that's the importance of education. It doesn't matter what you're investing in, you should always be getting educated. And if you know that Bitcoin has had in the past 4 years cycles, and it goes up and down and up and down and up and down while it's gradually going up in a bull market, then it comes down again and it goes down and up and down and up and down and up all the way down.
Yeah.
To a bottom, but that bottom is higher than where it started. So over a 4-year period, you are significantly, if history is anything to go by, quadrupling your money every 4 years, right? Or even more.
Or more, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think I'm up 200% this year, something ridiculous like that, you know? Like,
so you're taking a little bit of money every single week, and well, not a little bit of money, it's substantial, but in comparison to your income, a little bit each week, and you're putting it into crypto, and it doesn't matter what the price is you're just getting it, because as it goes up and it goes down, you're dollar cost averaging, which means you're getting an average price, which is for people who are hodling. You're just buying it and you're just holding. So you do something, like you do an evaluation, right? You evaluate what you're doing. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things as far as like what day of the week to buy, you know, and I try to look at, okay, what has it done this week, and is this a good day to buy? But you know, at the end of the week, I'm like, okay, I'm buying today, right? So there is a little bit of a wiggle room, you know. I find early mornings are really good for buying. Mm-hmm. The other evaluation I do is I don't just buy one crypto, right? So I have a balanced portfolio of crypto that I buy every week. And then I have some other ones that I've just thrown money at, and I'm just like, oh, maybe that'll be fine. You know, those are play though. Those aren't investing. Those are just like, I think that's going to be fun, right?
I did that with Cardano. I got Cardano when it was 11 cents. Right.
Oh, wow.
It's now hovering around $1.20 as we're recording this. It got up to $1.45 or something recently. 11 cents. And DidiBam at 1 cent, and now it's like 7.
Oh man.
How amazing is that? Like,
yeah, good for you.
Yeah. And not selling it at $20.
No, exactly. Yeah, I learned my lesson there too. Yeah. So I'll throw like $200 at like any sort of like altcoin that kind of pops up, and I'm like, oh yeah, that looks like it might be good. Okay, yeah, you get $200.
Yeah.
But for my like main investing, you know, like it's like 70% Bitcoin, 10% Ethereum, 5% Litecoin, and then like some others. I based it off of like Grayscale Investments. They're one of the biggest crypto investment firms in the world, and they have published their portfolios of what they're holding. Mm-hmm. So you can actually go and look at the ratio of what they have, and it's like about 70% Bitcoin, 10% Ethereum, and then there's 2 others splitting the rest.
Right.
So for me, instead of like doing all the math and like doing sort of the risk adjusted return, blah, 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 which I know how to do, but I'm lazy. So I'm like, oh, I'll just go do what the pros are doing, right?
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it was just yesterday that we heard the announcement from Elon Musk that we knew as of January that he will be accepting Bitcoin for Teslas, but
Oh, yeah.
and announced to the SEC that we're going to liquidate some, but we're going to hold some as well. And now announcing, no, we're going to hold all of it, because obviously that consciousness shift has landed in his awareness, right? It's like, oh, I get this. I've got this. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, and just on our earlier topic, you know, Tesla is one of those companies who's open sourced all their intellectual property, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because he wants to light a fire. He doesn't want to make money off of cars. He's like, yeah, I'll make money off of it, but that's not the purpose of Tesla. Tesla's purpose is to have a paradigm shift in the way that we transport humans.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love it. So going back to something you said about the roller coaster of the emotions, right? It's like, who wants to go through that roller coaster? Do you have anything that, or any technique or something that you do to manage that when the price goes up? And because we've talked about strategy. Now, what about mindset?
So the mindset is the strategy, and the strategy is the mindset. So realistically, you get a strategy and you commit yourself to it. And you say, I am, this makes sense. I'm going to do this. And then it becomes very easy, just like in meditation, when you lose your focus on the breath, the reason you're focusing on the breath is not to focus on the breath. The reason you're focusing on the breath is to notice when you lose your focus. So the strategy is just like the breath.
Wow.
The strategy is there so that you notice when you're not doing the strategy.
Wow. That is so interesting, because in this last dump, I abandoned my strategy because of fear. Like I doubted myself, and I'm doing well. I've got a great record, right? And and here I am just going, oh my God, this could go all the way down, in which case I'm going to get liquidated, blah, 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 blah. And I didn't do that, but I love meditating. I think it's important to meditate, but I love the strategy as prana. This is my strategy, right? And if I'm getting a bit wobbly, I'm just bringing my focus back to my strategy, because the strategy was a good one to begin with. Whoop, no, getting wobbly. No, I'm going to bring my focus back. I'm just going to breathe in, like my strategy is my prana. I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm getting shivers. Yeah, I love the way you framed that. But yeah, it's so simple, right? Like, we as humans, like, we think we're conscious all the time, you know? And as soon as you meditate, you realize how that's just not true. And yet the story that's written in our head is that we're conscious all the time. You know, I was thinking those thoughts, but I didn't intend to. So I don't know, maybe I'm not in control of my own mind. Yeah. You know, maybe I'm in control when I have a certain level of consciousness, and maybe I lose it. And, you know, investing is the same. Is like, there are certain things that are going to trigger us, and our consciousness level is going to drop, and we're going to get stuck in an emotion. And whether you're practicing Zen or meditation, some sort of emotional mastery program, like I teach this to business owners, right? Like emotional mastery. And it's the same principles, whether it's in meditation, whether it's in crypto trading, whether it's in business, interpersonal relationships. It's all about having a way of noticing when you have that drop in consciousness. Because that then triggers a wake up, and you can all of a sudden, I'm triggered. Something's going on. Maybe I should stay here and like deal with this from, you know, a higher perspective than from like my lower chakras, right? Because when you get triggered, you get pulled into those lower chakras, and then you are that emotion. You are that level of consciousness that grew up, whatever age it was that you developed that chakra. You are that.
Yeah,
at that point.
Encompasses you. It can be very seductive. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's addictive. I said at a Joe Dispenza event recently,
Yeah.
and he literally said, like what you guys got to understand is that your body is addicted to the biochemical hormones and proteins that are created when you experience an emotion. And the body has a way of projecting thoughts and images, memories into the mind. And if the mind grabs onto those and it starts recycling them, then the body gets to experience the emotion. And then it gets the dump of chemicals. So there's this interrelationship between the higher and the lower, that the lower is trying to get something it wants, either whether your go-to is anger or fear or sadness or shame, whatever your go-to emotion is, the body has been trained over decades to want that emotion, and it knows how to pull the mind into whatever drama.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I see this like, because if you get on a losing streak in trading, right, it become the losing streak becomes seductive, which is why my rule is I don't jump back in, I step back, deal with this, come back to my center, come back to my karma life, get the strategy on, get clear headed, and then go back in, because otherwise the seduction back to that sense of loss could have me
Yeah.
cloudy in my mind, not making the right decision and the right entry point to get in, or the right price to buy, or the time to sell, like whatever the decision is in the moment. It clouds my thinking, and so I make an inferior decision, which then brings me back to the addictive chemical of loss. I keep getting pulled back down into it if I don't break the pattern and recognize, oh, hey, there's a bit of a losing streak here. Okay, I'm coming back down to this loss, and then I do my thing. I have a quantum activation thing that I do, and then I can be free and clear. And
Mm.
now I can do that. And it's like, the more we do that, because the more we release our emotions, as you know, and the more we release our programmings and what have you, we become, well, we become who we really are, which is enlightened conscious beings, right? So I see that trading and being in cryptocurrency is actually a path to enlightenment. I really
Totally.
believe that.
Everything is a path to
Yes,
enlightenment.
yes,
The whole experience.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, even Osho said, like, somebody asked Osho, I don't know if you know Osho, but he's
I
like an
do. Yeah,
ancient,
part
like,
one,
Indian teacher. Somebody once asked him, like, Osho, who is your guru? And he's like, my guru was existence.
mm,
As a child, I'd go sit by the river and I watch the river flow by, and I just realize I am like that river. Like, every moment, the river's completely different.
mm.
It's just you can never stand by the same river twice, right? If you really look at it. If you look at it from far away, it looks the same. But when you really look at something, you really get into it, you realize there's constant change. That's one of, the three jewels of existence, like that's
Yeah,
um so there's so much to be learned, whether it's in crypto, business, interpersonal relationships,
yeah.
our own internal struggle. Yeah, I
So
love
do you
that.
have do you have a daily routine to get yourself to get your head on straight?
Oh yeah, I wouldn't expect anyone to do this. I'm in a lot of training right now. Like I teach Zen, and I'm also training in tantric Buddhism. So there's like, I'm doing like a half hour to an hour of prostrations every morning where I'm holding a visualization in my head. But like, if we're just to talk about, like, not the details but the structure of the morning routine that has made me successful, I have a mix of a masculine and a feminine sort of energy in my morning routine. And the masculine is, there's like this like 3 hour block in the morning from when I get up, where it's my startup script, right? It's like, now it doesn't matter what I do inside of that, but it's not work, it's not Facebook, it's not email, it's not any of those things. Like, don't touch any of that stuff for the first 3 hours of the morning. I'll do gratitude, like abundance, I always do like a half hour to an hour of meditation in the morning, depending if I'm doing prostrations as well. And then I have a physical practice. So whether it's Muay Thai or yoga, I'll do an hour of each of those. And then there's like journaling and reading that happens after kind of the mind, the body, then I get into journaling and reading. And that's like 3 hours in the morning, and sometimes it gets blown up by a phone call or something happens, right? But that's why I have that. Like, I find for myself, it's hard to have a very rigid structure. So, but I still recognize the need for structure.
Yeah.
And so that's where I say, okay, the structure is there's this period in the morning where I'm doing my startup, I'm doing my morning routine. And then inside of that morning routine, I can flow and flex. So I get that masculine, and then I get the feminine creative force to kind of dance inside of it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
3 hours that's commitment. I have excuse me, I have a power hour. My first hour is my power hour, where I power up, starting off with my declarations of the day. You mentioned Joe Dispenza. I got that from him in one of his courses, where you just start by declaring, today this is what I experience. But 3 hours. I might try that. I might give that a go. I could do that on the weekends. I don't know if I could do that during the week, but that is commitment. So back to crypto. What are your top 3 altcoins?
Altcoins. Oh man. I got a soft spot in my heart for Doge, even though it hasn't done very good. I just like it as an idea.
Right. Yeah.
But the ones that have really done well for me, like Nexo. Oh my God,
yeah.
Nexo.
Yeah.
Oh, I am so in love with Nexo.
Yeah. Mine is quadrupled. Yeah.
And it's not just the coin, it's the company.
Right.
Like they're the way, like all of the Nexo that's in existence exists. There's no mining any new stuff, right? It's all, but then the company, they go and they do these buybacks. They're like, oh yeah, we want to increase the value of Nexo for our clients, so we're going to buy back the Nexo that's on the market, and that's going to drive the price up, and they, if they're going to change interest rates or things like this, CRO can kind of learn from these guys. They communicate all of the changes ahead of time. And they changed their loyalty program, and it was a great change. And they, like, everything that company does is wonderful and thoughtful. So yeah, Nexo. What else do I like? I mean, I've got a lot of Ethereum, but I wouldn't really call it an altcoin. Oh, the unicorn coin. Yeah, Uniswap. Yeah, I like it because it has a unicorn.
Yeah.
That one's up like 400 or 500% for me too.
Yeah.
And it's the one that drives all of the exchanges between the various Ethereum tokens, like the decentralized finance stuff, where you can exchange one token for another without going to like Coinbase or something. That technology is still new, but it's going to change the world, because now we're getting away from those middlemen, right? Like, we're really reducing things, and it's going to allow people to swap tokens with each other. Yeah. So Uniswap's good. What else do I like? I have to look at I got like 17 different coins. Just give me a minute here. FIL is an interesting one. Now, it has a lot of potential. I don't know how it is doing right now. FIL is a utility token that allows people to store files on the blockchain. And it allows them to store them in an immutable way. Immutable meaning nobody can ever delete it. Now, that's really interesting, considering we're right now, given what's going on this past year, that big event, there's an information war on, right? Yeah. anything that doesn't agree with the political narrative is getting taken down.
Yeah.
So if you look at blockchain as a potential solution for, now, I mean, there's a dark side to this, obviously, but it's a potential solution for like getting out of the 1984-esque sort of censorship programs. I put my money there because I believe in it as an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I start with altcoins. I need to believe in it as an idea and then look at the technicals, the fundamentals, and the viability of it surviving a bear run. So I'd rather have more money, for me personally, more money and viable coins that will survive the bear run and be here for the next bull cycle than those coins that are just going to go shoot up like a shooting star and then become nothing, right?
That's why I stay away from the pumpers. You know, whenever I see on Reddit all these guys go, "Oh, this is the next best thing. Go get in now while you still can." I'm like, oh,
yeah,
no.
Except Dogecoin, but Doge has a really good story to it, so I can understand that.
Yeah.
I'm doing investigations into NFTs, and the beginning we talked about the vision that we're moving away from reciprocity and exchange in our financial systems and to a gifting economy. And I think that NFTs is the next revolution within the cryptocurrency space where you could turn yourself into an NFT. And if everybody was an NFT, I mean, maybe that's game over on any kind of financial system. Have you done any investigation into that at all?
I know about NFTs. I know they're emerging. I know they're basically tokens that you can buy, like you can own a thing that can never be taken away from you.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of interesting possibilities around that for like artists, like music and art and that painters and that.
But what about
possibly
humanity?
real estate?
What about humanity?
Yeah.
You can own a thing that can never be taken away from you. I'm just speculating here, guys. What if I create, I just got goosebumps. This could be the next revolution. What if I create an NFT out of the concept of freedom, which can never be taken away from me? What if I create an NFT out of my sovereignty as a human being and my right to self-determine and to be responsible for myself? And we created NFTs out of all of these ideas and then turn them into a piece of art to represent that idea. I mean, this is what's so great about this industry, is like the creativity is just bubbling to the surface, is really begun, and we don't know the ultimate potential of all of this, but my suspicion is that we're heading to a much bigger vision, which will be grand.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's a lot of potential there, and honestly, I haven't put nearly enough thought into NFTs as far as where they could go, but you're definitely inspiring me to do so. So thank you.
You're welcome. So if you were starting all over again, what would be the first thing that you would do that you would recommend perhaps others investigate to enter into the crypto space?
If I were starting all over, I would start back in 2010 and I would never sell.
You get in the DeLorean and you go back to the...
Yeah. No, if I were starting all over today, I would just employ the same strategy that I have been the past year. And that is just buying every week and never stopping, you know, and not looking at the charts every day and I actually wish there was a service where I could just say, buy all of these in this automatically, so I don't have to see it. Just take it right out of my bank account. I don't want to see it. If I could get that, if somebody's listening and they're really good with tech and they want to build a bot that'll do that sort of thing, I will be your first customer. But yeah, for me, having investing on automatic is kind of the dream without having it in a middleman sort of thing. So yeah, no, I wouldn't change a thing. If I were starting over today, I would just continue buying that sort of standard portfolio every week and continue tossing a couple $100 here or there at altcoins that I believe in.
Interesting. Yeah.
And
Cool.
yeah.
Great. So, if people wanted to get more of you, learn more about what you're doing, we want to send them over to mindhack.com. Is that your website?
It's mindhacker.com. Yeah.
Mindhacker.com. Mindhacker.com. I'm going to leave a link below for you guys to go check
Yeah.
it out. You have a great masterclass there, like it's a premium
Mhm.
masterclass for people getting into crypto. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that? Because we're going to leave a link to it. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. It's called the Crypto Masterclass. So come and join the Crypto Masterclass that's being created right now. It's about 90 minutes or so, and we dive deep into the topics we talked about today, as far as dollar cost averaging, portfolio balancing. We get into some of the more like nuances of international finance, and we actually like take people from I don't know what crypto is to now I know what it is, how it works. I'm able to get my money into it. I'm able to like buy it with confidence. And we've got a ton of clients who have just been so grateful, who didn't know anything about crypto and are now in the market and they're happy and they don't care if the market goes up or down.
Yeah. And you also have a section on dun 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 dun, dun taxes.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I do touch on taxes and how to deal with them, how to get the reports done, how to automate it, because it's like yeah, it's kind of nightmarish, and it's going to be another thing that's going to cause emotional stress if you don't like address it, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Brilliant.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, it has been amazing talking to you, going down various rabbit holes.
Yeah, I'm known for my rabbit holes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too. Me too. I'm the girl of Super Woo. If we're having valuable conversations here at Conscious Crypto Traders, so be sure to like, comment. I love your comments about the topics we've been brought up today, and I'll be sure to respond to them myself or Teresa. And of course, always like, subscribe, hit the bell, and choose all. And you'll be notified when we do more videos on trading, strategies, scenarios that affect pricing, and the mindset aspect of it. Thanks so much, Cian. That's been awesome. You go and enjoy the rest of your day in Tulum, Mexico.
Well, thank you so much, Nicola. Have a wonderful day.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.